Good morning. This is Debra V. Wilson. I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and that is in Canada. The date is the 29th of August, 2017. The time is 500 hours and 20 minutes, and that's GMT minus 6. I am continuing my journey of exploration of how society and societies experience national security models and how those collective experiences impact the veracity and soundness of a national security model. In that light, I like to go through a few things. I have to contextualize the first item I'm going to go through. I'm 60 years old, and when I was a teenager, I started wearing contact lenses. I lost one of my contact lenses. At that time, I didn't have the option to get mail order contact lenses. I was a teenager. I didn't want to put my glasses back on. I remember calling my ophthalmologist and telling him, I lost one of my contact lenses, but I can see perfectly fine. So I'll come in the office in a couple of weeks or two, right? 2, 3 weeks. My ophthalmologist said, no, you're not seeing just fine. What has happened is the eye that in which they still have the contact lens in it has the stronger vision, and it has taken over. The brain is now shifted the bulk of your sight to the stronger eye. The problem is, he said, you've lost depth perception. However, what I remember thinking, well, I still have one strong eye that works. I was a teenager. The learned lesson from that incident is probably I wasn't a very smart teenager, but the other lesson from it is, or maybe I was a typical teenager, but the other lesson from it is I learned at a very early age how the body as a system acts in relation. So when one of my eyes didn't have the contact lens, the stronger eye acted in relation to the weaker eye and took over. I've mentioned that I'm a type 2 diabetic. I've mentioned it a couple of times. The symptoms I had before I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes was literally my body, the system that is my body, reacting in relation to my now impaired pancreas. Ecosystems, quite complex, interrelated, they act in relation. If one item in that ecosystem changes, and becomes impaired, how the remaining fully functional components of the ecosystem change and adapt. We know and have known for many years now, based on science, that weather patterns in the Arctic impact weather patterns globally. The globe, the world, acts in relation. In the United Kingdom, the phenomena of tit-for-tat extremism is well documented. That extremism is acting in relation to each other. I would also say that I, from personal experience, believe that activism, that I've personally observed activism in the United Kingdom acting in relation to other forms of activism. Of late, I've been trying to understand the phenomena of the Sterlings and their murmurations, and how a movement or the experiences or this one sector of the mass of starlings experiences flight, and how their experiences reverberate through the entire mass, and how it impacts collectively how the mass moves through the sky. I think and I believe that the collective way in which components of societies experience national security modeling, civilians' experience of national security would be bottom up, is quite similar. I think it's good to look at those experiences from a macro perspective, a societal mass perspective, and then to drill down into society and examine based on markers such as gender, orientation, identity, identities, intersecting identities. Because those things can definitely impact how a clustering, a grouping of humanity experiences their engagement with the state via national security modeling. And I believe that those collective experiences in mass reverberate back up to the state. And that reverberation, that murmuration of society's collective experiences of the state national security modeling impacts how we collectively experience security as a group. This is Debra V. Wilson, and I literally got up this morning. Well, actually, I never went to sleep thinking about this and writing about this. It's still the 29th of August 2017, and it's still 500 hours, and now 27 minutes, and that's still GMT -6. Thank you.